Hey Janine, alright, so obviously the spread is not here yet, but I get stuff when I shuffle and I just wanted to mention it in case it does not match up with the past life that we get to. But just right now what's coming through is the idea of like a picture of a girl, a young girl wearing a bonnet and something about her having a pet rabbit. So this feels also like there's something about her. So sometimes I get like other past lives coming through that don't go with the cards where we're, with the spread, the past life coming through the spread. So we get multiple past lives. So just in the case that you can connect with this in any way and it doesn't go into the past life, make connections however you can. Feels like something about her or where she lives is like very conservative or even kind of Amishy, like Amishy. I don't know if it's full on Amish, but it's because the bonnet's kind of doing a thing. So however you might feel about that would be, one, if you like to dress conservatively or modestly, the idea of like the innocence of young girls out in the meadow, the innocence of being able to roam without worry. So that could be that you might be triggered these days whenever you read or hear about the idea of like a woman jogging alone getting hurt kind of deal. If that emotionally triggers you, not just a mild bother, but like if it emotionally triggers you, that would be a connection because there's something about what's coming through that's very like innocent. And it could be that it's a connection where almost like if you were just so aware of how the times have changed, almost like that kind of feeling like how the times have changed, where maybe once you may have considered things more innocently, like your view of the world, which might have turned with recent events or as you've grown, whatever it might be. But if that is a connection, just be aware of that. It could be coming through for the idea of your perspective is everything and you can control your perspective by what you focus on. And also we want to see about connection to rabbits or bunny rabbits. And I say bunny rabbits because it's coming through in the sense of having like this little bunny as a pet. So it's not like a hare, it's not like a hunting rabbit, it's a bunny as a pet. So it could be if you've ever had one, if you've ever wanted one, if that's the animal that you always wanted to have a pet as. It can also be that you feel connected to rabbits or bunnies, and that could be even like a power animal kind of thing. So if that makes any connection at all, you might want to just look up bunny or rabbit medicine, as in like power animal medicine kind of thing. So just some connections already that you could be making, and if not, you just want to tuck it in the back of your mind for a later time because sometimes you can connect later. But I'm going to go ahead, finish up shuffling, and lay the spread. All right, hello again. So here we have your past life spread. And it feels different than what we were talking about before, so hopefully you can make connections to that. Now, what we're going to do here is look at where you were, what you did with the majority of your time here, an important day with the relationships and the feelings involved, another important day with the relationships and feelings involved, the death, and the lesson learned. And we'll get hints of time throughout. So actually we're going to put this card away based on where we're going. I'll get there in a second, but all I'm going to do is relay to you the imagery and impressions that are coming through, much like I did with the precursor when I'm shuffling. And your job is going to be to try to make connections where you can based off of what comes through here and your current life. And I'll try to help however I can, okay? So just keep in mind there are a couple of ways you can be making connections, direct and opposite. Direct connections is when you can directly connect or resonate with what's coming through. An opposite type of connection would be if you find that you connect in a way that it applies to you in an opposite manner, such as sometimes we'll get someone who dies of drowning in another life and they may come back with a fear of swimming or fear of water or that particular body of water, scared of drowning, don't know why, that kind of thing. So you just want to keep your mind open as far as how you can be making certain connections, all right? So you might want to grab a notebook and pen. A lot of stuff tends to come through. And remember, it's for you to connect and resonate with, but don't force it. So whatever you may not connect with, tuck in the back of your mind for a later time, because things come up and click later, like days, weeks, months, even a year later, where it'll connect then, and you'll go, oh, that's what she's talking about, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and begin. First of all, what's coming through is the aspect feels like we are looking at another female. But however, it's almost like there's something about her that almost like her attire is, there's something where it's uniform. So I don't know if that's the job or the culture at the time. But where we're going is this card here is actually Atlantis and Lemuria. When we get this card, it can be either one. Or it can be places that are, we'll say, legendary, lost to history, places people talk about, you know, like Avalon or other realms, other dimensions. This is also our non-Earth kind of thing, or off-Earth or non-human. So we're looking at this, and it's usually a reason, so it's not to sway your belief system in any way. If like you don't believe in Atlantis or you don't believe in that kind, it's not really about that. This is also more bringing forward the idea of allowing yourself or giving yourself permission to dabble with, I want to say, to dabble outside of logic and to play with your imagination, to play with possibilities, to dip into creativity, and again, the word possibilities. So it feels just like if there is any part of you that you feel is closed off, and honestly, when I'm talking about this, I feel like we're also dipping back into that girl with the bonnet with the bunny. There's something about the innocence of that where it's like innocent play, innocent, keeps coming through. So it's almost like, I want to say, if you connect in a way where you feel like you might be or have become more cynical over time, or maybe that's just been your persona kind of thing, and there's nothing wrong with that, no judgment, but in the case that you find that you have a more cynical view, and it doesn't mean, it's not bad, it's just like, it'd be like the whole, like more like, not optimistic or not imaginative, or not allowing yourself to play with imaginative concepts, we can say, almost like realism, or something that has caused you to be more realistic, which could be, you know, things like emotional pain from the past, going through experiences that kind of feels like it kills the innocence kind of thing. So if you have gone through anything like that, or you connect in this way, this would just be coming through as a card, almost like a message of allow yourself to open up to the more, I want to say, imaginative, playful, creative, impossible side of things, like almost like a fantasy story, like almost like this is really, it's really interesting here how it's coming through. It's hard to articulate, so just bear with me. But it feels almost like, okay, whimsical. That's the word. So it's like there's a show called the series of unfortunate events, Lemony Snicket. There's a show out there that's like that. So if you Google that and see it, and there's something about it that is dark and almost like dark and cynical, but also whimsical and hopeful at the same time. So it feels like we're talking about you potentially needing to balance out those sides of yourself, almost like allowing hope to come through despite the evidence that might seem dark and evoke cynicism, to maintain the hope or a sliver of optimism throughout. Like all you need is that sliver. So just almost like make sure that you are at least holding on to something that allows you to be hopeful through what might feel cynical times, because you're going to need that, because a darker, we'll say if there's a darker period you're going through for whatever reason, you're going to need that sliver, like almost like a lifeline, like a cord that leads you back out to the light, if that makes sense. That's what I feel like is coming through this. Now what's interesting is what you did with the majority of your time here. This is the leisure card. So it feels like it doesn't matter if it looks like someone's life is all put together. It doesn't matter if someone has $1 million and a great home and maybe they don't have to work and da 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 da. It doesn't matter, because that person can still be going through depression just based on the biochemical makeup, you know, or whatever else might be affecting that person. So there's this idea of judgment happening just based on the evidence at hand, not knowing beneath the surface what's really going on. And this could be in your life, as in this could be you, or this could be someone that you're around that you might find yourself judging for whatever reason, because it might look like a certain way, but you might know you're not 100% sure of what's really going on underneath, but it is so easily evidentiary, like that there's like easy to see, or it's evidence there's evidence that it looks easy peasy for them. And again, this can be you, where you might be feeling judged and unheard, or not being able to express where, when you are judged, hey, like, this isn't what it looks like, this is just what I've always known to put the air on for, if that makes sense. Like, you know how we're just all born to a certain family, a certain way, and oftentimes a lot of us are born to a family where it's about image. So it's about looking put together, even if you're having panic attacks in the closet kind of thing. You know what I mean? So in this case, what I want to say, the message coming through would be that not everything is as it looks. And if this is happening in your life where you feel like you know, and our ego is our mask. It puts on the personality that the world sees, and everyone has it. So you're not alone if this is you, but also a reminder that if this is someone else in your life, that, that they're going through, they might be going through something you're not aware of. And vice versa. Again, you might be going through something that other people are not aware of, but you're putting on a facade because this has been what you've been taught to do. So what this does is, wherever this might be in your life now, this can be past, current, or coming up kind of thing. So just, if you don't connect now, tuck it in the back of your mind for a later time, because this might be helpful. But this would be speaking to authentic expression and taking steps towards allowing yourself, or giving yourself permission to express yourself beneath, from under the surface kind of place. And if you feel like you cannot do this because of the people that you are around, this would be a call for you to start creating space for people who speak your language and who can understand you. This could be the kind of thing where it's like, if you need to see a therapist, go see a therapist. But this is also the kind of thing where it's like, if you feel like your friends are fake or shallow, and you're in a different place, on a different page, then you have every right and you have every permission to start kind of weeding them out and creating space for people who will make you feel whole and sane and grounded and understand you. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So that's what this can kind of feel like. And we're seeing a lot of people having to put up boundaries when it comes to people that are no longer serving their growth, even if they've known them a very long time, which is really hard when you've invested in a 20-year relationship or 30-year relationship, if it's family or whatever. Very hard, but you have to do what's right for you. So just, you know, connect however you can with this. So we did see, I was saying how I saw a woman wearing, what did I say? It feels like it's a uniform, but in the sense of like almost what we would consider futuristic-y looking, in that it's monochrome, like white, and it is almost like a suit, it's almost like a onesie suit, but it's not like a pajama or anything like that. Like it's durable material. There's something about it having to do with like minimalism and cleanliness. So you might even connect with that if you're getting into or have been into minimalism, or if you are feeling crowded or chaotic in your mind or your home, to look into minimalism. Even like the thing coming up is that Marie K. There's a woman out there who has a show and everything having to do with getting rid of things if they don't bring you joy. That's coming through. It's almost like revisit what you might have, because everything you have in, like every item that you have in your home space holds energy. So let's say you have an item that you had with an ex that was abusive, we'll say, just like an example, or even an item that you have from a friend you used to have, but there was a falling out. That item, even if it was a gift, it holds the energy of that friendship or that ex relationship or whatever. Same thing goes with good things. Like if you have a piece of jewelry from your grandmother that you loved, it holds her energy. So this energy is around your home space. Now, if you're feeling like things are chaotic in your mind, or you can't settle down, or if you're feeling off, like not aligned, if you're feeling disconnected, all that kind of stuff, what it feels like is you could very well be someone that's very affected by your environment. So it doesn't matter even if your house is very clean. Minimalism is different than cleanliness in a sense, as well as the idea of getting rid of things that hold energy from another time in your life, which means it's holding energy from another version that you were. So it's kind of maintaining an energy around that might actually make it a little bit difficult to shift or change into a newer version of yourself that you're ready to change into, if that makes sense. So connect with that however you can. Also, the idea of this monochrome thing coming through, it's a white kind of thing I was mentioning. How do you like to dress? This can also be very effective when it comes to shifting your energy. Like if you're someone that wears a lot of black and you're feeling like you're not on your path, colors hold frequency. If you want to shift that, it could very well be as simple as change your wardrobe up. Or if you wear a different color, maybe black is perfect. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It's what makes you feel good. So this could just be a message of, hey, take a look at what you surround yourself with, as well as what you wear, I want to say like how you assign yourself. So it's almost like, how do you identify yourself by your designs, by your aesthetic, by your environment, like that kind of thing. How does it define you? And are you the one defining it? So are you letting, it's the kind of thing, it's like, are you wearing the same clothes that you have worn because that is what you have been taught to wear to present yourself a certain way? Have you been interested in trying something different that might not meet up to the standards, or, you know what I mean? Like of your previous, how you, was it your wardrobe, that kind of thing? Let's see what else is here. Because this is presenting someone who is just very like clean, like very clean. And this can also be if you are someone that likes it very clean, and almost like, again, if you already like minimalism, or like kind of like a sterile kind of aesthetic, because it might promote cleanliness or uncluttered mental processes for yourself. This could be coming through though if you want to unclutter your mental processes, and that can be very helpful there as well. Now, the last thing I want to mention about this is also the environment. So the aesthetic here, even though we talk minimalist, is also there's something that we would consider futuristic by the like what we would call perhaps like even very modern furniture. This could just simply be that you might connect in the way that you like the modern look of furniture, or you like futuristic aesthetic. And in the case that you do, but you're not surrounded by it now, and let's say you've always enjoyed, it doesn't have to be modern furniture, but it could be. But what I'm saying is, if you have been pulled lately towards changing your environment in the way of, let's say you've had French country your whole life, and you now feel pulled towards modern aesthetic kind of furniture, kind of surroundings, this would be an encouragement to move towards what you feel would be the most beneficial or conducive to your peace of mind as far as how you lay out your environment. And it can be very effective, even the furniture you have. And again, to harken back to energy being held by items, furniture you have, like let's say you've had a couch that has lasted a decade, and how much energy is in that couch with all the people that have sat on it and shared their energy with it, and it's in your home. And some people are very sensitive to this. Others aren't, but some are. And more people are becoming more and more sensitive to this, and not even realizing why they're being affected emotionally, like why they might have a bad day, because they're picking up on an energy of someone that was in their home and infused their energy into a piece of furniture that's like a chair, and then they sit in the chair and all of a sudden they're feeling glum and they don't know why. And it's because that person is feeling glum. You know what I mean? So it's like, don't discredit when you feel sensitive and when you feel like your mood may be altering. By the way, I'm not a doctor, so like mood altering goes, you know, medical disclaimer kind of thing. But for this, if you find your mood altering and shifting and you don't know why, and you feel like there's no real control over it, there's nothing triggering you, but yet you're shifting your mood, it could very well be that you are growing more sensitive to energy. You just may never have considered that before. Maybe you have, And if you have, you're probably right. Like, don't doubt any thoughts you have that come in your mind when it comes to that. That's your intuition telling you something. But just consider this food for thought, okay? Now, the life of leisure actually is something where it's not like you're just laying around doing nothing. It's that the kind of lifestyle that you have built for yourself in this place feels like, even though you may work, whatever you may do, which may come through soon, whatever you may do, it's done on your time. And it feels like this is someone who is very organized and structured with their time, and something about making sure that there's no pressure on themselves. So they make sure that they time things out where they don't feel like they're ever rushing towards a deadline. In fact, it feels like this is the way of the land. Like, wherever this person, this aspect of you is, we'll get some more into that, but wherever they are, this is the way it is. If there is someone here pressured for time, procrastinating, not meeting deadlines, or just meeting deadlines, they're usually looked upon as the kind of thing where they'd be urged to go to therapy or go see someone because there's something off. That, it feels like, that's the kind of thing where people are considered like you need help, is when they're not taking self-care, and they're not showing self-care to themselves in the way of rushing and last-minuting and not giving themselves time and relaxation, not giving to themselves. That's why this life is a life of leisure, because it's important in this society that everyone takes care of their mental and emotional states, prioritizing it. Like, first thing, you take care of you, because if you're not taking care of you, then you're not contributing to the whole in the best way that you can. So do whatever it takes to serve yourself in order to be of service to the whole that much more better, that much more efficiently. So however that concept connects with you, this could be coming through for you that you need to show yourself more self-care. This could be coming through if you're someone that is a procrastinator and you are just making deadlines, or even if you're someone that runs your life by deadlines, not in the sense where you enjoy a checklist and a structured routine, but in the sense where you're just making deadlines and it's like always right there and there always is a deadline, and you aren't prioritizing your own self-care. This would be a huge message if you connect with that for you to start focusing on you. It's the concept of like, fill your own love bucket first so that the love can spill onto others, versus running on fumes and catering to others where you start to resent them because you're running on fumes yourself rather than feeding yourself first. So just make sure that you are taking care of yourself, and almost like it's not selfish to prioritize yourself. You need to do that, because then you could be of better service as a whole, and for humanity as a whole. And your life will run smoother, and there will be more peace of mind. And I feel like that's our goal here, is like obtaining peace of mind. That feels very important right now. So just keep that in mind. Now, as I'm speaking, what this is actually linking me to, as far as a place, this feels, it's either off Earth or Earth beyond any year that we can think of. Like, it's either far future, where it's like a whole nother reality of like humanity, or this is off Earth in another place, because this is reminding me of a regression session that because I also do hypnotherapy and regressions. This is reminding me of a session, this energy, this place here, a session that I had where someone went back to another, it was off Earth. It was actually a Pleiadian planet. So I don't know if you are into star seeds or you've ever heard of star seeds, but in case, just because it feels like that, you might just want to Google Pleiadian and starseed, and see if you vibe with what you read about, okay? And just go from there and trust what you feel about it. If you feel a connection or if you feel like you're resonating or connecting with Pleiadian or starseed, trust it and go with it, you know, and if you've never heard of it, it might be a little bit, you know, out there or whatever, but just read and see how you feel. Because this is what it feels like. And it might just be coming through as off planet, wanting to bring that up to you again for the idea of possibilities, of things beyond just our human world here, of playing with the imagination, of allowing things to be possible, if that makes sense. It almost like if you're someone where you feel a bit hopeless lately or coming up, to hold on to that concept of being part of something cosmic, galactic, bigger than just here on planet Earth. Like there's more out there. That whole feeling, there's more out there. What's out there? That kind of possibility feeling. So that might be very helpful to have that feeling, or to hold on to that feeling, almost like an affirmation. You know, like there's more coming. There's more out there. Like things are bigger than I ever dreamed. That kind of thing. So yeah, so anyways, keep making connections here. We're going to go to the first important day. So the first important day here is the graduation card. So graduation card can mean academia, but it can also mean leveling up emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually. The relationship card here is the karmic card. When we see someone come in with a karmic card, it's usually someone that you see in your current life as well, unless the karma is with the land or the planet in this case, or yourself. There's various, karma we can be going through. And then the feeling with it is just rolling right along, peaceful. So I'm just seeing what's going on here. Okay, so what's happening here in this life that we're looking at is you completing karma that comes from another life. Okay, so this is not your current life completing this karma. This is karma here being completed from another time. And it feels like what we're seeing is this aspect of you advancing in every way. So overall it'd be like, oh, spiritual leveling up, but this is in her work, in her mindset, in her daily routine, in her actions, in her behavior, in her perspective. This person is leveling up. And to be part of this society, compared to us, it's already pretty darn high. And she's leveling up. So it's almost like I want to say she's also being recognized in a sense in society for how beneficial her services and her energy is to society as a whole. So in a sense, it's almost like we're looking at someone who is being recognized in the community. And I feel like the karma being completed here has to come from another time where, or does come from another time where the aspect backed out of moving forward with her life or his life in the other life, whatever it might be. So it's like here she's leveling up and gaining repute, and in another time she wasn't able to accomplish that. So here she's accomplishing what she was not able to accomplish in another time. And the feeling with that is just rolling right along, because it feels like she's taking it on. Sorry about background noise. She's taking it on very naturally. Like this happens organically, where she doesn't have to reach for it. She tries and she puts effort in, just like everyone else, but it's not like the sweat of her brow, like that kind of thing. It's just she's moving along steadily at her own pace, not feeling rushed, just moving step by step, taking it day by day. And this could be coming up in case you can connect in the way where you might be doing a lot of projects at once, and maybe you feel a little jumbled in your life. And this would, if that's the connection, this would be a message of, hey, take a breather, step by step. Start with something, step by step by step. Just in case you feel overwhelmed with something, remember that you have the power to go at your own pace. If you're feeling rushed by any circumstance or any other people, it's because, and you might not like this, but it's because you're allowing yourself to feel pressured or rushed, based on choices and decisions you made that put certain people in such a place or put you in a circumstance that made it so you would feel pressured or rushed. Really, you have the power to be like, nope, I need to slow down, I need a breather. So it's the kind of situation where if you find yourself in a job, like with a boss kind of thing, and they keep just piling more work on you kind of deal, this is where you put your foot down and you say, I can get the work done, but you're going to have to tell me what to prioritize, because it's piling up, and it's impossible for me to be able to complete all of this by one deadline. So you need to be the boss that you are and help me prioritize and do your job, like that kind of thing. So we're looking at you just making sure that you're aware of what you're allowing in your life as far as feeling rushed or overwhelmed, where it's coming from, where the root is, and understanding that you have power to put a stop to it, or you have the power to shift it. Okay, so just food for thought for that. See how you connect with that. see. Direct connection would be if you find yourself part of a community or part of something where you are recognized for your efforts that you put in. On the other hand, you might be someone that wants to be recognized for efforts but have not started moving in that direction yet, but maybe that's part of something that you yearn for. And if you do, it's because the recognition is already there. It's already here. It's almost like if you yearn to be recognized in some way, in any way, and there's nothing wrong with that, make sure that you're at least propping yourself up, like being your own cheerleader, like recognizing yourself, recognizing all your qualities and your values and your worth. And that, I feel, comes with that. So when you start to do that, you'll want to follow where you're pulled. Like when you start loving on yourself more and more, you're going to get little instances come up, like thoughts or emotions or whatever, that make you want to try something or go somewhere or do something. And that's your intuition kind of laying the dominoes effect out for you, where you just have to follow it and see where you're pulled, and it'll just go like this, you know, like the domino effect. So keep that in mind. This can also be that you are in a place right now where you are ready to level up, shift, or where you're experiencing, we'll say, shifts of maybe even reality when it comes to your emotional state. Maybe you react differently to something that you used to react in a different way too, if that makes sense. That is a leveling up, which also feels like, I want to say, to make sure that you are giving yourself credit for your growth, however small it may be. It could be the kind of thing where you used to get really mad when something happened, and now when that thing happens, you've come to a peace with it where you more observe it rather than attach to reacting in anger. That's a big deal. That's emotional leveling up. And that's the kind of thing where you need to pat yourself on the back and kind of acknowledge the step you've taken or how far you've come, because when you acknowledge it, that's the law of attraction, where when you acknowledge something like that, you're putting it out there and it's going to boomerang back, where there's going to be more things for you to acknowledge that you are proud about yourself or happy with, or seeing that more and more shifts within yourself. So just keep recognizing the qualities and the changes within yourself. And again, like, be your own cheerleader, be your best friend at this point, okay? So the karmic card could be that you're just kind of meant to keep recognizing your own achievements, however small they may be. They may be emotional or mental, you know, the things you can't even see or aren't tangible. You need to be aware of more so that you can love yourself more for shifting into a higher vibration in that way, which is usually like reacting with a more peaceful state of mind, or less anger, or, you know, more, we'll say, higher frequency emotions versus lower, if that makes sense. So just keep making connections where you can with that. Lastly, I just want to say one more thing is, with everything we're talking about, and the peaceful card is here, again, I feel like this is kind of leading towards the goal of peace of mind. So however you might connect with that, maybe that's what you're looking for or needing at this time. And if that's the case, do what you got to do to get that peace of mind, okay? So when we struggle, that's good. We learn from the struggle, but the struggle should not be continuing on for long periods of time. So just be aware of that. And you know, some people are meant to, you know, struggle through their life, but this doesn't feel like this. This feels like there's supposed to be a break and a mental peace for you, if you haven't found it already. Because that's why I feel like everything we're like looking at, it all comes down to you getting into a state of a more peace of mind kind of place. So whether that's even a conscious goal of yours or not, just consider it, because that kind of thing clears energy, like clears toxic old energy in you. When you reach a peace of mind kind of state of mind, it clears space. And what does that do? When there's space within you, you get to dictate what to call into you, which you would want to dictate calling in to you more abundant energy, higher vibe, abundant energy, which also attracts higher vibe friends and people and partners or whatever it is you're looking for, okay? So just keep that in mind as we move along. So we're going to go to the next important day. This is the move, 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 let's go card. Often we see people getting out of wherever they are, or we're watching people go or flee or whatever it might be. This is the spouse card for the relationship, and this is the pity card. And what this feels like is, I want to say, in your current life, if you linger on past memories, or if you linger on things like maybe holding grudges, or Again, like linger, the word linger. If you know this about yourself, this is what we're addressing here, because what happens here is actually you meet an amazing partner and you have each other, you found each other. This is amazing. And the pity card comes up because in this amazing moment, there's a focus you have, a quick focus where you're like, why did it take this long? Or was I prioritizing the right thing? Because this feels so good. I could have had this all along. And what I want to say about that is that's not true. So it's a bit of a fluke of a mindset where this could be correlating to you in your current life, where there might be a thought in your mind that might be off, that is holding you back in some way, or not holding you back. When I say holding you back, I mean keeping you in an emotional place that you don't need to be in. Because it might be a repeated pattern of a thought that you're so used to thinking that it's just kind of part of your energy now, but it's a lower kind of energy. And if you're aware of that thought, if anything comes to mind right now, by the way, that's the thought. If not, connect later, just, that kind of thing. But when you become aware of that thought, that's a repeated pattern that you feel is kind of, feels a little icky. It's like a lower kind of emotion that it brings out. That's the one you need to pause and be aware of and acknowledge that that's part of your pattern, because that's the one you need to get rid of. You need to let go of that one. Because it feels like that would be, if there's anything holding you back, it would be that. And it feels like it would be the kind of thing that's a program in you that might have been something that has occurred over the years and you just kind of gave into it that it's true. Whether it's like you think it's true about you or true about life or whatever it is, because you've seen a pattern of it. If you're able to capture that thought, you can break the pattern and it doesn't need to be there, because that's the kind of thing, that's how manifestation can work, when there's a pattern that turns into a belief system. So you just expect there to be evidence of it. So you find it and it appears, because that's what the universe is delivering, is your expectation. So you want to change that expectation. Because that in itself is going to bring peace of mind, more abundance, higher vibe kind of stuff. Because the thought here has to do with what I feel like a lot of, the equivalent here would be how women don't like aging. And they have negative thoughts with aging, mostly. And it's almost like I want to say, because of the collective thoughts that women have about aging, they become what they fear. Like if they're worried about wrinkles and this and that, or whatever it might be, that's all they focus on then when the wrinkles do come, because we're human, we have wrinkles, we're human. So when they focus on it, then they're like, oh, I knew it was true. I don't, I don't look good and like that kind of thing. And it's not true. It's just how you're perceiving it and what you're focusing on and what you're allowing the external society to put into your mind of what is actually beautiful. Because aging is amazing, because of all the wisdom and experience you accumulate and how you feel more comfortable being yourself as you get older. And, there's like all this amazing, magnificent stuff that comes with age, but we're told not to focus on that. We're told to focus on the aesthetic of it and the you know what I mean? The things that really don't matter about it, that can actually be seen as beautiful if we were taught to look at it more beautifully. So it's all about perspective. So I want to say this is coming up because like here, it's like, oh, I could have had this all along. I should have done things differently. Like that sliver of a thought comes through. It doesn't like bring her down and she doesn't dwell on it here, but it's enough that it hits, enough where it's coming through here, probably because it's out of her norm, because love does weird things like that. But that's not true for her though. It's because of how she lived her life. Every decision and choice she made before led her to this fantastical love, this great, wonderful partner. And there's no need for feeling bad about it, because if she had done anything different, this would not have happened. And I feel like that's almost a mindset for you, in case you can connect with that. It might be helpful for you to understand that every choice and decision you made led you exactly to where you are. If you had done things differently, it would not have turned out exactly as it is. So everything happens according to plan in that way, because every choice and decision puts you on a different path, but every path is good and right for you because you put yourself there. You know, so that's how you can also know that you can never really be lost, because you put yourself in you even put yourself in a state where you feel lost through your choices and decision. So feeling lost in itself is right and good for you, because you have to learn how to not feel lost. You see, that's how everything can be a lesson. So just consider that, food for thought, however you might connect with that, okay? This can also be just in the case that you connect where if something happens, you might be someone that either notices what is off about it, or you know someone, or you see someone, or you're with someone who is like that, where something great will happen, but they'll notice the one thing that's off. If that's you, or if first of all, if that is you, this would just be a call for you to be aware of when it's happening and to shut that pattern down, because that is not a healthy emotional pattern. It's not going to help you. It doesn't benefit you. What benefits you is recognizing it and shifting it. Now, if you're with someone that you know does that kind of thing, and it triggers you, and it bothers you, and it disheartens you, and you don't like it, this would be a message for you to put up boundaries with that person, which is hard to do if you live with them or if you're in a partnership with them or whatever. But it could be boundaries where it's either you stop focusing on their reaction or giving their reaction any value, so to speak, like that kind of reaction, or this could be a message of time to have a talk, time to mention something, you know, time to bring it to their awareness. And if they don't put any effort into changing that to make you feel more comfortable, then that's just another thing that you might need to consider of taking a step towards as far as boundaries. You know what I mean? Like, so that's just coming up for whatever reason, but connect however you can. And we're gonna go ahead and move to the death card. Hold on. But I do want to mention the move, let's go card. This is you shifting out of a routine that you've been used to for a very long time, for many years, maybe your whole life, shifting out of that routine, allowing yourself to be affected in a way you've never been affected before. And it's almost like taking a little risk, but getting much reward. So this can also apply to you in your current life in case you are going through a transitionary kind of phase right now where you are coming out of a routine lifestyle, or could be coming up where if you have a routine, it might, something might happen where you'll have to adjust it. And this is just letting you know that in the case you don't like adjusting or change, that change and adjustment is inevitable, but also how you react to it and how you move with it and approach it and perceive it, it can either lead to a bit more of a hardship state of mind where you're gonna have to work through that, or it can lead to rewards. So it's almost like I want to say, try to go with the flow and be fluid when it comes to change or shifting, whether it's inside of you emotionally or mentally, or externally where you might actually be moving, or you might have to move jobs or start a new job, or there might be someone being introduced into your life where you're going to have to create space for that person in some way. And it's just, if you I want to say to approach, if you can approach it with play or with pleasure in some way, or approach it with curiosity, or approach it, you don't have to be happy about it, but you can be curious or intrigued, or the kind of mindset where you're like, okay, let's see where this goes, versus, oh man, I don't want this. Oh man, like, I don't know how this is gonna be. You see what I mean? Like, it's two different vibrations. The emotion in each of those statements are completely different. So that's what you bring to the table when it comes to change and shifting and adjustments, and how you bring it, how you approach it, that alters your path. That's a whole thing. So just keep that in mind when it comes to changes or shifts within yourself, to and also when it comes to you changing yourself, like inside your interior universe. If you find yourself changing in your belief systems, your moral code, your internal language, whatever it is, go with the flow of the shift and the change, because that's your internal tides that are going in and out. That's a natural pattern, and the more you're able to kind of go with the flow of it, the more you'll be aware of the rewards that come with it rather than the hardships, if that makes sense. So it's about where you place your focus and how you perceive and your perspective. So keep making connections there. We're going to the death now. The death card here. This is the natural death card. So this is, easy peasy, kind of usually in your sleep kind of thing. No discomfort. I'm just seeing what circumstances surround it. So what I'm seeing is actually daytime, which is not the norm actually, but it feels like you pass during the daytime on a real like sunny, beautiful day by a window in your home. And it feels like the home again is like futuristic, where the window is almost like a really huge airplane window. Like, how they're shaped, the oval, but it's like really big. And you can see out and there's like greenery and just, it's just like in sun, like the sun and the shade through the leaves kind of thing, just very beautiful. And it's a very clean environment, and it feels like you're old and you're tired and you're just by the window, and it feels like there's someone in the home with you doing chores or whatever they're doing, and it feels like a utterly and completely peaceful passing, like ridiculously peaceful, like taking a breath, feeling the sun and seeing the sun and being comfortable, taking a breath and letting it out, and then that's it. And it's like completely and utterly beautifully peaceful. So this just could be coming up in the case that you fear death or you have issues surrounding death, that this is a very natural, organic, even to some extent beautiful part of life. Death is part of life, and it can be as easy as taking a breath in, and then once it's out, you're transitioning into the next phase. So just however you might connect with that. But we're going to go to the lesson card here. So the lesson card is the let go card, which I think is actually great because we just talked about letting go of something like mental patterns, right? So what's interesting is the let go card applies here and in this shift of lifestyle where she had to let go of her old routine to allow new energy to be introduced into her life, which wasn't easy for her to do because of the structure of it and the repeated pattern of routine day in and day out. But yet she managed it, and in doing so, in allowing the change, she was rewarded with a loving, stable partner perfect for her. And it worked out so smoothly because she allowed the change to occur when she felt like an internal desire to do something different that broke the routine and allowed a new energy to enter. And I feel like that's what we're talking about for you is, again, just being hyper self-aware of your routines and what routines are there because you created them versus someone else creating them, and what routines might be limiting to you. What routines you feel like are stale, almost, I want to say. Like, what routines are stale? And this can also be the routine of a thought pattern or a thought process that you have had over the years. To be hyper aware of these things so that you're able to, first of all, know that they're occurring and existing and that they're part of your life and part of your being, part of your energy, but also acknowledging them in that if you see a routine or a thought pattern as its own entity that you have control over, that you can change or shift it, alter it, delete it. You have, it's like a software program. You are in charge of the coding. So you can alter your software anytime, but in order to do it, you have to be aware of it and have intention to do so. Okay? And so I feel like a lot of that the let go card has to do with like delete to any routines, thought patterns, or emotional patterns that are not serving you, are not benefiting you in the way that makes you feel like it provides a peace of mind. Okay? So find whatever is taking away your peace of mind and see how you might be able to adjust, shift, or delete that routine or that pattern. Okay? And that will create space and bring in the good stuff. So keep that in mind. Keep making connections to the let go card. Let go card can also pertain to letting go of toxic people, where we talked about boundaries before, or letting go of items that we talked about before that may hold old energy that no longer serve you or your aesthetic. So just be mindful of that and make connections. And so there you have it. So there is your past life reading. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're able to make some connections. And thanks for letting me read you.